こんにちは、皆さん。今日、私たちは日本語を勉強しています。質問があれば、私に聞いてください. Greetings, everyone. Today we're studying Japanese. If you have any questions, then feel free to stop and ask me at any time. We're continuing with Immersion with Card Captor Sakura. Let me fix the subtitle. If you have any questions, just ask them in the chat. Koyume, the stream, many more, okay, many more, 見たことがある. So, this stream, it's a previously saw thing that I have had. In other words, this stream I've had it before. So they write it as Kono yume mai ni mo mita koto ga aru. Dare watashi janai. Who or who as in who is that? That's not me. Or that's not I. Oi Sakura donai shitanya. So remember, donai is the concept way of saying either do or dona. And so donai shita is like what happened or what's going on. Well, not so much what's going on, but are you alright or what happened? Basically, use a shita for something that happened in the past, and you're asking about like what's happening that leads to this current state. Always, always the exclamatory for getting attention. Oi Sakura donai shitanya. Sakura, una saretota kara. So it's probably from, let's see, sareru changed to sarete, and sarete ota, which then gets contracted to saretota. No, that can't be it. That can't be sareru because una, I don't think that's a word by itself. And then shinpai. So shinpai worried. So shitata no ni. Oh, probably the continuous. Wait, what would be shitata? It would be shite if that was continuous. Unasar. Oh, unasareru. Oh, that's not receptive at all. That's its own word. Let's see. Intransitive ichidan unasareru. To cry out in one's sleep, from having a nightmare, to moan in anguish in one's sleep. Unasare. let's see. So una sareru, so which goes to una sarete ota, which gets contracted to una saretota. Shinpai tata. Explain the grammar of in English. Let's see. The sentence translates to I was worried that Sakura was being possessed, but una sareru. Unasu a verb. Unasu. Sareru. Nope, not a word. Shinpai shitata. Okay. Colloquial contraction of shinpai shita was worried. Let's see, tata, a contraction of teyata. Was simply the past tense of suru. Okay, I don't see how that's a contraction of te yatta, but emphasize with auxiliary te yaru. See, a contraction of te yatta, which this can't be because that is shita after it. Or emphasize with the auxiliary verb heiyaru. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, the verb is unau. To groan, to moan, to roar, to growl, to howl. Unaru. How is it passive though? It would be rare. It would be rareru if it was the passive. It says let's see. Unasare, this is the pat let's see, this is the passive, or more accurately the suffering passive of meiwaku ukemi, or the verb unaru, which means to groan or to be delirious. In context, unasareru means to have a nightmare or to be tormented in one's sleep, or to groan in pain while sleeping. The passive form here indicates Sakura is the receiver of this unpleasant action. She is suffering from the nightmares. Okay. Tota. This is a Kansai dialect for teita. Okay. So, okay. It says unaru is a word, but it makes no mention of. Yeah, there would have to be a word unasu. Let's see. Shinpai, worry, anxiety. Shitata is complex contraction specific to Kansai speech. Specifically derives from Shinpai Shiteyata. Wait, why would you have both sheet? Oh, it's a pseudo verb, I'm guessing. A pseudo verb, so they need the shite to make it into a verb. Okay, so generally derives from Shinpai Shiteyata. Okay, an auxiliary verb meaning to do something for someone or lower status or close relation. Conjugation shite plus yata. goes to shitata. It implies I worried for your sake, or went out ahead and worried. It adds a layer of personal involvement or benevolence from the speaker. In some casual contexts, it can simply be emphatic past tense. I did worry, reinforcing the truth of their anxiety against a potential denial. Okay. Okay, no need for contradictions. Okay. Okay. It connects the previous clause, the reason for worrying, to an implied or stated following clause that contradicts the expectation set by the first part. Why is yaru used? Auxiliary verb yaru is used in concepts that like to add nuance to the speaker's action, particularly shinpai shitata. Okay, or origin. Shitata is a contraction of shiteyata, which combines the te form suru with yaru in the past tense. Meaning of yaru. While yaru can mean to give to an inferior like a pet, or in this context, it functions as an auxiliary verb meaning to do something for someone, or to do something on one's own initiative. Nuance in this sentence. Therefore, shinpai shiteya to translate to I worried for her, or I went ahead and worried. It emphasizes the speaker's. Okay. See, why not shinpai shite ita? Okay, so shite ita is the standard Japanese past progressive tense. It means was worrying and describes an ongoing state of worry during the time Sakura was having nightmares. Okay, shinpai shitata is a Kansai dialect contraction of shinpai shiteyata. Okay, here the auxiliary yaru adds a crucial more nuance. Yaru, when used with the te form, means to do something for someone, or to do something on one's own initiative. Therefore, shinpai shiteyata means I worried for her sake. Or okay, this emphasizes the speaker's active emotional effort and investment in worrying about Sakura. It frames the worry as an action the speaker performed for her, often with a sense of self-sacrifice or benevolence. The use of shitata instead of shiteita shifts the focus from the state of worry to the action of worrying done for someone else, which is a key part in the sentence's emotional impact, especially when combined with contrasting noni. Isn't the passive of unaru the word una sareru? Why did you say it was una sa reru? Okay. Let's see. So isn't the passive of unaru the word unarareru? Why did you say it was unasareru? You're correct. The standard passive form of a gotan verb typically follows the pattern of sound. So the verb unaru, to groan, to moan, and sleep. The standard passive form is indeed una. Let's see, it's una sareru. Reru dareru, seru saseru. Okay, the confusion might arise from una sareru is not simply a passive voice indicating a neutral action received. It's specifically a suffering passive. Meiwaku no ukemi. This construction emphasizes the subject Sakura is negatively affected or suffering from the action of having a nightmare. Focus on her distress, not just the fact that the groaning is happening to her. This is why it translates to was tormented, was having a nightmare, conveying a strong sense of discomfort. Let's see. Actually, let's see. Unaru conjugations. Yeah, it's just. Let's see. Unaru. So it says the passive is unarareru. The other thing says the passive is causative. Would be unaraseru. But somehow we have unasa, which makes no sense. Oh, konnichiwa, Alex Jackson. Genki desu ka? How are you? If you have questions, feel free to ask. Explanation between unaru and unasareru. It's just not in this dictionary. That's why I'm having trouble finding it. Is this its own word, or is it passive? Let's see. Unasareru is technically the passive form of the intransitive verb unareru. So while it functions as a distinct dictionary entry meaning to cry out in one's sleep or to have a nightmare, its structure follows the standard Japanese passive form unareru, meaning to be tormented by dreams, or have a nightmare. Passive conjugation. For each down verbs, passive form is formed by replacing the ru with rareru. Therefore, while it's listed as own with word in dictionaries with specific nuances, often implying involuntary nature of the action, it is morphologically a passive construction. Research context does note that unasareru is the polite standard form, often cited derived from the passive stem. So unareru why is sa in it? The sa in unasareru appears because the verb is actually a shortened causative passive, not the standard causative. Oh, that's right. That's right. It's causative passive. I forgot about that. Yeah. So the suffering passive, I forgot about that, was a combination of causative and passive. Since all these tenses are really just helper words being added on, you can chain lots of helper words onto things. So unaru becomes causative, so that's una saseru. Let's see, and then una saseru. That's right. If it was causative, there should be a second sa sound in it. Suffering passive explanation Japanese. Typically structured as affected person wa ga, agent ni, object will passive verb. The affected person is marked by while ga, the agent by ni, and the object of the underlying action by wo. So imoto ni keiki o taberareta. My younger brother ate my cake. Okay, that doesn't use causative at all. Yeah, the suffering pattern passive has to deal with sentences like you know how you can move things around, particles around to the front, middle, and back. Well, the suffering passive has to do with things being arranged in a particular order. See, keiki ga taberareta, the cake was eaten, and keiki wo taberareta, someone had their cake eaten by someone else. The latter sentence is more natural in most cases, but I feel he should have provided some explanatory on why that is. Sakura una sare tota kara shinpai shitatta no ni. Or shinpai shite yatta. Okay, so that still doesn't explain why. This is unasareru. Let's see. This sa in unasareru appears because the verb is actually a shortened causative passive, not a standard passive. Remember, the better name for the passive is actually the receptive tense because it's more in line with what it's actually doing. So base form unaru, go down verb means to groan in sleep. Okay, causative form. To make the causative, to make someone groan, you change the u to and add seru. So that's not what you're doing. Okay. See, in Japanese, the sequence serareru is often contracted to. Oh, in Japanese, the sequence serareru is often contracted to. Yeah, serareru is often contracted to sareru for ease of pronunciation. Oh, this might be because of a contraction, okay. So, doesn't unaru become unaraseru when you make it causative and not unasaseru? Wait, unaru, what type of word is unaru? It's a go-down verb, which means it becomes ra there. And not una saseru. The standard causative form for the go-down verb is unaru is unarasesu. The sa in unasareru comes from the contraction of the causative passive from una unara se rareru. So unara se. Okay, so they're saying the unara se una. So we have unara ses seru that then becomes unara se rareru, which then gets contracted to let's see, unasareru. Hence, it's causative on the inside and receptive on the outside. The contractions used for causative, passive, hold on, so let's see, go down verbs. the something serareru is contracted to asa reru. Example, kaku to write. Formal would be kaka se rareru. Contracted would be kaka sareru. Okay, so they're still keeping that the A sound thing on the end of it. Example, matsu to wait. So yeah, mata se rareru. Contracted would be mata sa. Mata sareru. Group 2 Ichidan verbs. These verbs do not have a standard contracted form in Japanese. The full form saserareru must be used. For example, taberu becomes tabe saserareru was made to eat. Okay, forms like irregular verbs suru saserareru. No contractions. Okay. Kuru kosaserareru was made to come. Okay, so that implies that this should have been una ra sereru. But they're missing an extra ra here though. Unless this is a kansai bin thing. What about in kansai bin? Let's see. While standard Japanese prohibits the contraction of verbs whose causative form ends in sasu, like tabe sasu from taberu. Wait, that's. This rule is often ignored in casual concept and speech, as noted in online discussion. Speakers in concept region commonly form things like tabe sasareru, what? Or kisaseru, even though they are considered grammatically incorrect in standard Japanese. Right, the contracted form of saseru is used freely. Okay. Show a Godon verb example for kansai bin. Okay, causative passive form of Godon verbs such as kaka sareru, to be made to to made to write from kaku is used similarly to standard Japanese. The shortening form sareru is commonly in casual speech. Okay, throughout Japan, including kansai as a contraction of the full ase, so aserareru form. While concept in it is noted for being more lenient with verb forms, it's sometimes using contractions like tabe sasareru. Great for ichidan verbs, which are non-standard. Okay, the use of contracted forms of godan verbs like kaka sareru is not specifically a kansai feature. Okay. Find how unaru unaru's positive passive contraction is una sa reru instead of unara sareru. Verb unaru, okay, to groan is a godan verb and its causative passive form follows the standard contraction rule. So unara plus se plus rareru makes unara se rareru. However, in both spoken and written Japanese, se in the middle is commonly dropped to make the word easier to pronounce. This results in the contracted form unara. So unara rareru. Which becomes unasareru. The contraction of let's see, of asase rareru to asareru is regular and widespread. So kaka se rareru becomes kaka sareru. Okay, mata se rareru becomes mata sareru. Yes, okay, but why are you changing it just for that one verb? You're dropping the double R. Therefore, una sareru is a standard contracted form of the causative passive for unaru. The form unaras sareru is not used because the contraction rule applies directly to the causative stem. Una rase. Removing the se rather than keeping the full sase rareru. What happened to the first ra and this. In the case of, let's see, causative form, unara seru, causative passive, unara serareru. Contraction, the set is dropped off, which resulting in una sareru. Okay. This is not a random loss of ra, but it's systemic contraction. Okay, as asaseraru becomes asareru. The ra you hear in una sareru is the first ra from the passive suffix. What happened to the ra that came from the ru and unaru? The ra that comes from the ru and unaru is not lost. The ru is part of the verb's dictionary form ending and is dropped during conjugation. The ra in the contracted causative passive form unasaseru comes from no it does. Let's see. Unaru is a go-down verb. So shouldn't the unaru become unara instead of una when you add positive to it? Let's see. Instead it appears the bra appear. I'm just gonna have to look at this sentence up. This is really strange conjugation right here. It seems to say, yeah, this is correct, but I can't find any information. Okay, if I just make the assumption it's causative followed by receptive, so there's no ni in here, but that is what would be interacting with the causative part, essentially causing her to groan in her sleep. And then the outside, which is receptive or passive as they call it, Sakura's interacting. The Sakura noun's interacting with that, so Sakura's receiving to cause to groan. And then this was put into continuous past tense, so that the te ota became tota. Prior to one's sleep, or in other words, to receive causing to groan. So, Sakura, una sare tota kara shinpai shitatta no ni. Or, so Sakura was groaning in her sleep, and I was worried. But in other words, not needed, since you see the no need, because he's thinking, oh, maybe that worry was not needed after all.
Sakura. さくらうなされとったから心配したったのに。ごめんごめん、変な夢見ちゃったから。
ごめんごめん、変な夢見ちゃったから。So, sorry, henna yume, strange dream, let's see, michatte, so that would be mite shimatta, so ended up having, or michatta, and there would normally be a particle wo here, but this is casual speak, so it got dropped. So, gomen gomen, henna yume michatta kara.
ごめんごめん、変な夢見ちゃったから。変な夢？前にも見た。夜の東京タワーの夢。
前にも見た、I previously saw it, or in other words, I've had the stream before. Let's see, I think that was Yoru.
だから変な夢？前にも見た。夜の東京タワーの夢。
So, Yoru no Tokyo Tada no Yume. So, night of the night Tokyo Tower dream. So it's a dream at night at the Tokyo Tower.
前にも見た夜の東京タワーの夢。それから中国服を着た男の子が出てくるの。それから
let's see. それから、中国服を着た、let's see. So, wearing Chinese clothes, and then otokonoko. So, there was a boy wearing Chinese clothes. So, 中国服を見た男の子が、出てくる。So, 出てくる, so to exit and to come. Or another way of putting it would be to come out, to appear, to turn up. So, それから and then, okay, それから中国服. In this case, I think it just means Chinese clothes, not so much Chinese dress. Oh yeah, unless you mean Chinese dress as in how you dress sense, I guess. So, それから中国服をそれから中国服を着た男の子が出てくるの。
前にも見た夜の東京タワーの夢。それから中国服を着た男の子が出てくるの。中国服？お兄ちゃん、
うなされてなかったか？うなされ
あ、うなされてなかったか? So, in other words, moaning in your sleep again. So, yeah, the causative followed by the receptive. So, to groan, to cry out in one's sleep. So, to groan, so receive cause to groan, essentially. And then, nakata, that's from nai. Okay, so this is just past tense negative. So, were you not moaning in your sleep? In other words, were you moaning in your sleep? So, うなされてなかったか?
お兄ちゃ
ん、うなされてなかったか？なんとなく聞こえたような気がしたんだ。お前の声。
お兄ちゃん、
うなされてなかったか？なんとなく。
let's see. なんとなく. I think this is not as in the question word and then nanto. So, nanto nai, and then naku is from nai, I believe. So that would be nanto nai would be not existing what? Or and then there's, let's see, kikoe, let's see, kikoeru. Let's see, kikoete yo な気がしたんだ。なんとなく somehow, for some reason, without knowing why. Oh, that's right. Nantonai is like, no what, or in other words, like no reason. That's right. Nantonaku. And so I mean, nantonai is like no what or no reason essentially. So like with, I guess, no question or for no reason, and no reasonly essentially it would be nantonaku, or in other words, for no reasonly. Yes. Okay. So for some reason or without knowing why. So nantonaku. What? So a particle to connect nani. Okay. Naku from nai. Okay. Literally without what. Okay. Literally translates to without what. So no what essentially without a specific reason. Okay. And then kikoeta. That's right. Kikoeru, to be heard, intransitive. I see. Kikoete yo. Let's see. Let's see. Like, similar to, feels like, feels. Oh, that's right. This is the like as in the same type of like as the soul type of like, or the mitai type of like. But yo would be the most formal. So kikoeta yo. So like you heard something. So for no reason, like you heard something. Ki spirit, and then Shita did. So for no reason, like you heard something. Did it for no reason, like you heard something. Spirit. I felt like I heard it vaguely, or I had a feeling that I somehow heard it. See, kikoeta, past tense of the kikoeru, which means to be heard, to sound. This is in intransitive ichidan. Okay. Yona, attributed form of yo meaning manner, way, appearance. When attached to a verb in its plain form, like kikoetai, creates a phrase like as if or like. So heard something way essentially. Okay. Like kigashita, the core expresses. Okay, kigasuru, meaning to have feeling. Yeah, so yeah, key's like spirit mind. So to do a spirit or mind is basically to get a feeling, essentially. Key spirit mind feeling. So and nantonaku, kikoeta yo na ki ga shitanta.
ちゃん、
うなされてなかったか？なんとなく聞こえたような気がしたんだ。 お前の声。なんとなく聞こえたような気がしたんだ。お前の。
Oh, oh, omae no koi. Previous voice? Oh no, no, omae, that's right, another word for you, so your voice. Yeah, because mai can also mean like in front of, which is how it's being used here. The in front of or you. Omae no koi.
お兄ちゃん。
うなされてなかったか？なんとなく聞こえたような気がしたんだ。お前の声。
お兄ちゃん。なんともないよ。ちょっと変な夢見ただけ。お兄ちゃん。お兄ちゃん。
うなされてなかったか？なんとなく聞こえたような気がしたんだ。お前の声。
お兄ちゃん。なんともないよ。ちょっと変。
Let's see, nantomonai. Nantomonai yo. See, chotto hen na yume mita dake. So, yeah, it's nothing. So, it was just a little strange dream. So, let's see, without what? I know, I know, let's see. It's no big deal, it's no problem. Yes, can we get a grammar breakdown? Yeah. Find the grammar of non-tomo. This is adverbial form meaning in any way. Or at all, or to any degree. It's commonly used in negative constructions to emphasize the absence of equality. Neither, okay, negative form of aru, okay, not, okay. Non-tomonai literally means not bad in any way, or not anything at all. In this context, it functions as a reassurance. It's nothing. Okay, yo, okay, choto, hin, okay. What about non-monai? Instead, non-monai means there's nothing or have nothing, focusing on the little absence of things, objects, or features. It's grammatically similar to nanimonai, non-demonai, but with different nuance. Non-tomonai, okay, see. Non-tomonai emphasizes it's nothing serious, it's not a big deal. Reassurance about the situation or feeling. Nanmonai emphasizes there's nothing at all. A statement about being absence of physical things, qualities. So, なんともないよ。ちょっと変な夢見ただけ。
なんともないよ。ちょっと変な夢見ただけ。
はあ、そっか。
そっか、I see. Remember correctly, I believe that comes from Soka. Let's see, as in S-O-U-Ka. Does Soka come from Soka? Yeah, Soka is a casual contraction of Soka. The transformation occurs to a phonetic process called rendaku, or gemination, where the long vowel so is shortened and followed by a small su known as sokuon. This creates a glottal stop that results in the pronunciation of soka instead of the standard soka.
Ha, そっか。やっぱ怪獣のうめき声か。
ちょっと変な夢見ただけ。
はあ、そっか。やっぱ怪獣のうめ。
やっぱ、怪獣の、やっぱ怪獣のうめき声か。やっぱ、two also. And then kaiju monster. The animal beast, suspicious, mysterious apparition. Okay. Umeki goe. Grown. Oh, is this from Umeru? Umaru. Okay, the word was unaru. But this word is umeki. Umeku. Umeku, to groan. Intransitive. Unaru. Okay, to groan, to moan, intransitive. Umeku, to groan, to moan, intransitive. Okay. So what's the difference between umeku and unaru? umeku and unaru. See, the primary difference between umeku and unaru lies in the intensity of the emotion, the type of sound produced. Umeku expresses stronger pain, sorrow, or grief. It is used for human sounds of deep anguish, such as a patient moaning in pain or someone lamenting over the loss of a loved one. The sound is generally softer and more vocal than unaru. Unaru refers to emitting a low, guttural sound driven by anger, pain, or instinct. It's commonly used for animals like a dog growling at another dog, or humans making involuntary strange sounds due to physical discomfort. Okay, so umekus have a much more pain-based, pain-intense groan than unaru. Unaru often refers to a state where emotions such as anger or pain are voiced as sounds of cries. Okay. Umeku, okay, expresses a stronger degree of pain or sadness. Let's see, is yappa short for yappari? Okay, so let's see. Yappa kaiju no umeki goe. So groan or moan umeki goe. So a monster's voice. So yappa, I I heard a monster's voice. As I thought I heard a monster's voice. Why is he ending this with ka? Yappa, kaiju no umeki goe ka. So it was just a monster's groaning after all. I'll get rid of the ka, it becomes... Let's see, why is ka in this sentence? English. The particle ka functions as a sense-ending particle expressing uncertainty or wonder, or self-reflection, rather than a formal or direct question. Express, I wonder, or maybe. It translates to, it is, or could it be, in a reflective sense. Speaker is guessing or realizing something internally, not asking that someone else for confirmation. It roughly equates to, I wonder if it's a monster's moan. So it was the monster's moan, or so it was the monster's moan after all. Yappa, okay, combined with yappa, the short for yappari means as expected, or actually, or after all. When paired with card, it emphasizes a sudden realization or confirmation of a suspicion. The speaker literally heard a sound and concluded, so it was the monster's moan, as I suspected. Distinction from question marker. If this were a direct question asking for information, the annotation would rise. Okay. In summary, ka marks the end of the statement of speculation, turning the phrase into, so it was the monster's moan after all, rather than a direct question. Yappa, kaiju no umeki goe ka?
なんともないよ。ちょっと変な夢見ただけ。
はあ、そっか。やっぱ怪獣のうめき声か。
なんですって。
怪獣のうめき声か。
なんです
って。やっぱ怪獣のうめき声か。
Non deste. In other words, what did you say?
見ただけ。
はあ、そっか。やっぱ怪獣のうめき声か。
なんですって。肩こる。なんですって。肩こる。
Katagoru. Mo. Let's see. So this is sort of like the mo isn't enough already. I've had enough of this. So in other words, hence it has that already meaning. Like not anymore, not any longer. You're already done with all this. Okay. So mo, and then let's see. Kata kogoru. To become stiff. So in other words, he's saying his shoulders becoming stiff, okay, because he was having to hold that position. And notice he dropped the particle. Actually, you could probably say this either with wo or ga. Let's see. Kata kogoru.
やっぱ怪獣のうめき声か。
なんですって。肩こる。
朝飯できてるから早く来い。
何よ, what is it?
朝飯できてるから。
Or basically what, essentially. It's a asa.
朝飯できてるから早く来いよ。
So asameshi, that's probably a formal word for breakfast. Asameshi. Dekiteru. So, dekita would be saying like it was just made, essentially past tense, it's now done, but dekiteru from dekite-iru is saying it's the continuous state of it having been made. Or, in other words, was able to do it. So, asameshi dekiteru kara hayaku koi, which is the command form of kudu, I believe. Imperative koi, yes. So asameshi dekiteru kara hayaku koi yo, or breakfast is ready. Quickly come. Or in other words, come and quickly eat breakfast. If breakfast is ready, come and quickly eat it. Or come and quickly come to breakfast, I should say. But so asameshi dekiteru kara hayaku koi yo.
朝飯できてるから早く来いよ。
Sakura no let's see, Raibaru.
怪獣じゃないもん。
Oh, that's that Mogan as in Mo already, or in other words, just showing frustration.
怪獣じゃないもん。
Kaiju Janaimon. So, I'm not a monster. Unless that means I don't. Oh, that could mean. I wonder if that could mean like I don't sound like a monster. Or was that it wasn't a monster? Kai. Kaiju. Kaiju Janaimo. Let's see. What does this mean? Context of a sibling teasing about hearing a monster. See, in the context of a sibling teasing, this phrase is a playful, childish denial. The suffix mon from naimon or okay, it's a casual. No, it's from mono. Okay, but anyway, it's emphatic particle often used by children or in intimate relationships to insist on a fact, similar to saying "I tell you it's not" or "it really isn't." and that the other one makes so much. Okay. Kaiju Janaimon.
怪獣じゃないもん。さっきの夢の話やけどな。
Saki no Yume no Hanashi ya Kero na. Let's see, wait. The dream you talked about earlier, but short boy ago. Let's see, about the dream you mentioned. Oh yeah, it would be like in English saying about the dream you mentioned. Saki no yume no hanashi ya keru na.
怪獣じゃないもん。さっきの夢の話やけどな。さくらには多少なりとも魔力があるさかい。さっきの夢の話やけどな。さくらに
Sakura ni wa
は多少なりとも魔力があるけどな。さくらには多少なりとも魔力があるさかい。夢の話やけどな。さくらには多少なりとも魔力があるさかい。
tasho, a little, somewhat, somewhat, slightly, to some degree. Let's see, not nari tomo. Let's see, marioku, magical powers. Let's see, ga sakai, and sakai is from same as the Kansai bin version of kara, so. So Sakura Nari. Let's see, Nari. So that'd be become and then Tomo. Let's see, anything, anywhere, anyone, ever, even if it's just. So with Sakura becoming a little. Let's see, you have magical powers, and then from that, what? Since you have at least a little bit of magical power, Sakura. So Taisho Nari Tomo. Explain the grammar of this. let's see. A combination of the product of part or ni, which marks the existence and location or target used with adu for inanimate existence, and wa, the topic marker. The wa adds emphasis or contrast to the object. Sakura ni wa tasho naritomo, a compound adverbial phrase meaning to some degree, to a certain extent, or at least a little. It emphasizes that while the amount might not be huge, it is non-zero. Tasho, then Marioku, magical power, okay, ga, okay. So, Aru exists, okay. Wait, Sakai, a colloquial or dialectic contraction of Sakai ni, or Sakai, which functions as a conjunction meaning because. Okay, so let's see. I was curious, what is the origin of Sakai? What is the origin of Sakai? Used in Kansai Ben. Equivalent to kara or no de. Okay, it expresses reason or cause. The the word Sakai originates from the classical Japanese noun uh Sakai. It shows Sakai he, but I know it. I wonder if it means Sakai e. Let's see. Sakai he. And nothing. Okay, yeah, just an AI error. Okay, so which means border, boundary or border. Over time, this spatial concept evolved metaphorically into a logical connector, signifying a transition from one idea to another, akin to crossing a boundary from the premise to conclusion. This semantic shift is supported by historical texts and linguistic analysis, which indicates Sakai became a noun, but was grammaticalized into a conjunction during the Muromachi period in 1336 to 1573. The transition likely occurred through expressions like Sakai de or Sakai ni, where the boundary metaphor extended to causal reasoning, i.e., this is the reason, okay, therefore that follows, okay. By the early modern period, Sakai has become established as a conjunction in the Kamigata dialect, the classical form of the Kansai dialect spoken in Kyoto and Osaka, was widely used across Kyoto, Osaka, and surrounding regions. Historical examples, okay. So essentially got its start from the word borders. So in other words, Sakai ni borderly or Sakai de with delineation of a border. Okay. Now I do this. Let's see. Explain Tasho Nari Tomo. More detail. Let's see. Taisho, a little, some, somewhat, slightly, to some degree, okay. Meaning more or less, or to some degree. Grammatical structure, Naritomo. Okay, the Naritomo construction is an older, somewhat literary or emphatic form that conveys at least. Even if only a little, or to some extent, it emphasizes a minimum amount or condition, often implying that while the quantity might be small, it is still significant or sufficient. Therefore, Taisho Naritomo means to some extent, or at least to a certain degree. Let's see, Nari. Article. Oh, I thought this was from Naru. Or something, or for instance, though, okay. As soon as, right after. Is Nari from Naru, or is it a particle? The Nari is not the verb anaru, to become, nor is it a standalone particle. It is a bound auxiliary element derived from the classical Japanese Dante no Jodoshi, or copula nari. The classical nari functions similar to the modern copula da or des, meaning is or to be. Over time, it evolved into a grammatical suffix. It's used to form expressions of concession or of minimal degree. When combined with tomo, the compound nari tomo means even if only. Or at least, it emphasizes the minimum acceptable amount or condition. Is nari its own stand-alone word when used with tomo? No, let's see. No, nari is not a standalone word when used with tomo. Okay. It is a bound grammatical element derived from classical Japanese copula nari, equivalent to the modern, da des. A combination nari tomo, evolved into a fixed inseparable adverbial particle meaning at least. So if you think of this meaning like da, so to be with, and then I guess even to be with, and I guess the mo's even, I guess. So I guess that sort of means like at least. So naritomo. So with to be, or in other words, even or at least, okay. Sakura ni wa taisho naritomo Mario ga aru sakai. Oh, ryoku, not ryoku, maryoku. Sakura ni wa taisho naritomo maryoku ga aru sakai. So, okay, since Sakura, since you at least have a little magical power.
夢の話やけどな、さくらには多少なりとも魔力があるさかい。その夢はな。
その夢はな、so that dream.
けどな、さくらには多少なりとも魔力があるさかい。その夢はな、予知夢かもしれん。予知夢？その夢はな、予知夢。
予知夢かもしれん。So, かもしれん is basically short for かもしれない. So, let's see. So not, let's see. So it comes from shiru, to know, to then shireru, able to know, shirenai, not able to know. So I think this is supposed to be like I wonder, if I remember correctly. See, explain the Kamo sheet and structure. Expression of might or may or perhaps, used to express uncertainty. It is a colloquial contraction of the standard Kamo shita nai, placing the final nai within. In informal and casual, often perceived as masculine or rough, it is generally used among close friends, family, or relaxed settings rather than informal writing or polite conversation where Kamo shita masen, okay, is required. Okay, the form is particularly common in Kansai Ben, though it is also understood and used in standard casual speech across Japan. So, okay, so
予知夢か。
Yochimu, precognitive dream, foresight dream. So, beforehand, previous knowledge dream. Yochimu. Yochimu. So, in other words, so in other words, is it a prophetic dream? I'm not able to know, which is another way of saying it might be a prophetic dream. Yuchimu kamoshiren or yachimu kamoshirenai. Yeah, yachimu kamoshiren. Yachimu.
も魔力があるさかい。その夢はな。予知夢かもしれん。予知夢？その中夢かもしれん。よ。
質問がありますか? Are there any questions? There's no questions. We're going to raid someone, so please stick around for that. Okay, we're gonna raid Con TV, who's currently watching Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. Okay, let's see. The next person I'm gonna raid is We're gonna raid Rallied, who's currently playing Warzone. Let's see, the last raid shall go to... We're gonna raid Sweet Lullaby TV, who's playing Star Citizens. So, 皆さん、お気をつけて、また明日。Goodbye, everyone. See you tomorrow.